The scene opens with me under my car, ratcheting down a bolt. My phone rings, but like any true mechanic, I simply tuck it behind my ear without stopping my work. Sup? David's voice rings on the other side. Hey man, it's time for you to leave. At this, I stop my work. What? Is this a plot of the organization? How did they find me so quickly? I need a book tick. Nah man, it's time for you to leave my garage. I look over and see David standing behind me, talking on his phone. I look back to my work and keep talking into the phone. Give me 2 weeks. Nah. 1 week. Nah. Suddenly, aviators materialize on my face and I look directly at David through the sunglasses. I slowly pull the shades down and cast a determined stare. 3 days. David stares back at me. We stare at each other for about 10 seconds before he spits on the ground and then nods. All right, man. You've got 3 days. And with that, he hangs up the call and walks out of the garage. I push up my shades, and Eye of the Tiger starts to play. You see a blur of motion as a time lapse of me fixing my car and shoes, partitioned only by pizza breaks and naps. At the end of the 3 days, David swaggers to the door. Right, man, time's up. The roar of my engine cuts him off. The sound of squealing rubber echoes through the room as I peel out of the garage and whip my car into the road. The last you see of me before I race off in the distance, an aviator-clad smirk. At least, that's what I wish had happened. See, what actually happened is this. The scene opens up with me under my car, ratcheting down a bolt. My phone rings, indicating I got a text, and I stand up to get, whacked on the head by the bottom of my car. Ouch, I mutter as I reach for my phone with one hand and rub my head with the other. The text reads, I should have my Jeep out of the way by the end of the day. I don't know how to help you from here on out as far as getting things done. It may be best to take it to a genuine mechanic. I don't have a recommendation on who to take it to because all my family knows are 4x4 mechanics. I'm happy to try and help it get there, but I don't think I have an available trailer or anything. So we just have to get a tow truck. My parents are a little antsy to get you out of the garage, so probably have to move relatively fast on getting it opened up. I text back, "Kay, shall do. Thanks for all your help." I put down my phone and I let out a deep sigh. Well, it's do or die. Eye of the Tiger plays once again, and a time-lapse of my car successfully reassembling ensues, except this time it's broken up by long periods of absence and no pizza breaks. The soundtrack still echoes through the garage as I approach the last 2 things I need to screw in to get my car functioning again. I start to ratchet it in as the song hits its chorus. Suddenly, the hose stops screwing in, and the soundtrack scratches to a stop. I look at the hose and blink twice. I slowly unscrew the hose, look at it, look at the threading, then carefully rethread it. It stops screwing in once again. I slowly unscrew the hose, look at it, wipe some metal dust off the threading with my fingers, and then carefully rethread it. It stops screwing in. I slowly unscrew the hose. 2 hours later, I look at the hose, then back at the threading of the rack and pinion, and take a really deep breath. All right, one more try, I mutter to myself. Carefully, oh so carefully, I rethread the hose, and slowly, oh so slowly, I start to screw it in. It stops. Something in me snaps, and I scream at the top of my lungs as I go full throttle on my torque wrench. I force it to turn until it's about halfway in, and then even the 900 pounds of force isn't enough to turn it anymore. I slam my car door closed, force my engine to life, and an atom bomb goes off center of my car. Okay, maybe it wasn't quite that dramatic, but I actually did spend 2 hours trying to get that hose not to cross-thread. And further, I literally could not do it. So after that time, I figured I might as well just throw a Hail Mary and see if I could ratchet in nonetheless, and that didn't work. So yeah, unfortunately, I just flat failed, and when I was literally 2 hoses from being done. I don't know if you know how frustrating that is, but I assure you, it's a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. Especially because the cross-threaded piece had to be the rack and pinion, which I spent the whole time replacing, and now I have to re-replace, which means as far as repairing the rack and pinion goes, I'm back at square one. I mean, to be fair, I've learned through the School of Hard Knocks exactly how to replace it, so unless more things break, which given my luck is practically guaranteed, this should be a fast job the second time around. But yeah, I then had to get my car towed out of Wade's garage. The all-too-familiar cash register appears, and the total reading of 2.91 Oculuses reads on the register. And then, once I got it back home, I decided to call a few repair shops and see if they could give me an estimate on how much it cost to fix, since I was able to tell them exactly what was wrong, because I was feeling pretty done with fixing this car. And they called me back, and they were like, $1,600. And I know for a fact the parts don't cost more than $400, which means I would be paying them $1,200 for labor. That's 4 Oculuses for them to unscrew some stuff and screw it back in. Upon hearing that ridiculous price, I renewed my resolve and battened down the hatches, because there's no way I'm paying someone $1,200 for something I can do myself. At this point, it ought to be noted that the "can" in the previous sentence ought to be put in quotation marks given my experiences thus far, because there is nothing in the physical realm that makes this repair impossible. There's nevertheless a fact that the fates are real, and they have destined me to fail. So who knows? Maybe I really can't fix this car. Anyway, I realized I now needed tools because I didn't have access to Wade's tools anymore. But remember, I could spend $1,599 on tools at this point because it would still be cheaper than going to the mechanic. So my Uncle Dusty lent me some tools, but the only thing he had for unscrewing things were like jammed in there. That were jammed in there. Going full throttle on a 900-pound torque wrench may or may not do good things. So I got an impact screwdriver, which couldn't unscrew the hoses I needed to unscrew because they require a Crowfoot extension, which, the impact screwdriver doesn't work with. And they're in such an awkward place. And, hence the 2 hours to just unscrew and screw the hoses in like 7 times. That normal wrench can't get there. So basically, I couldn't get this job done without an impact wrench. Plus, I figured out I might as well need, one of those really cool ones. So I might as well get... I might as well have one. I looked it up, and impact wrenches cost like $330. And then add the battery, which you kind of need, to make the impact wrench work, and it costs like another $100. Batteries are super expensive. So I scoured the web and found a special going on at Home Depot where they're selling 3 tools, which is the actual impact wrench I needed, as well as 2 batteries for $4. Seriously, how does that make sense? 3 tools, 2 batteries, cheaper than 1 tool, 1 battery. Seriously, sound logic right there. Anyway, so I went over to Home Depot and found they had 1 package left in stock, so I bought that. 1.338 Oculuses. And then when I got home, I realized Uncle Dusty didn't have the wrench extension I needed, so I bought that. 0.049 Oculuses. And a Crowfoot wrench extension, 0.09 Oculuses. And a pair of mechanics gloves, 0.04 Oculuses. An adjustable wrench, 0.87 Oculuses. Some lubricating fluid, 0.25 Oculuses. And when all that came, I realized my extension set didn't fit the impact wrench, so I bought an adapter set, 0.28 Oculuses. And if you didn't get the gist, that was a lot of things. So now I'm broke, but still less broke than if I went to that stupidly overpriced mechanic. So with all my tools in hand, I went out to my car and started jacking it up with the jack that came with my car. And you see metal shavings literally peeling off the jack's threading as I turn it. I stare for a moment and think, yeah, maybe I need a new jack too. 0.144 Oculuses. As far as car stuff goes, that largely brings me to today. Because the new improved jack, which is a hefty boy, just got here like 2 days ago. And obviously I can't really work on my car without first jacking it up. Also, I bought some jack stands. 0.117 Oculuses. And from there, but they were going to take a literal month to ship, so that's just flat out stupid. Anyway, I'm sure bricks work in the meantime. You can hear my car creak as I lower it onto a brick. The brick splits in half. I shrug. I'm sure it'll be fine. So yeah. You are now up to date on the latest edition of Alex and all the money he's spending to fix his car. At some point, Ben has convinced me that I need to do a total of just how many Oculuses drifting to Kirby cost me. So I'm sure I will do that, and that amount will be painful. Anyway, here's what's been happening on the other side of my life, regardless of my car escapades. When finishing the last live email, I was still on vacation with the Macy's, and instead of going to the hot springs, which I must say I think is entirely devoid of good reason, because you're just paying to go and sit, but not do anything in them. I mean, it's just like, if you want to sit in warm water, take a bath, for goodness sakes. At least a bath is a temperature that's, controllable and it doesn't stink. Anyway, I stayed at the condo and had a relaxing time building a calendar to schedule out my life, which so far has actually been pretty useful. Then that evening, when everyone got back, we all played some games and that was fun. And then we went to bed. The next morning, everyone looked again, but they couldn't find my lost New Zealand necklace, which was pretty sad. I literally lost that thing. I really had that thing around my neck for over 2 years. 3 exceptions being when it broke and I had to fix it. And then, I just go and lose it. I still have no idea how I lost it. I mean, I was standing over the tile when the string broke. I literally saw it fall into the snowsuit I was putting on, and I literally lost it. The only way I could have searched my snowsuit more thoroughly is if I put it in a shredder. It's my necklace, was like tormented for being attached to me after so long, and so it just like willed itself out of existence. Seriously, I have no reasonable explanation for where on earth it could have gone. So yeah, here's a blurry picture to commemorate the great New Zealand necklace while I had it. Can we please have a moment of silence? Okay, that's enough silence. Also, why do we even do that? Because whenever someone asks for a moment of silence to respect something, I assure you for like 2 minutes or so that my brain's receiving no stimulus. I sure ain't thinking about what I should be thinking about. I'm just instead being like, how much gold will I have to trade pigmen to get enough crying obsidian to make a giant floating orb in Minecraft? That's what my mind goes to. So yeah, if anyone out there is considering holding a moment of silence, which I will attend, know that my thoughts will likely consist of that. Anyway, I lost my necklace, which was super sad. I then went on a super boring walk, which was, I was tricked into, because they said we were going to the YMCA, but then because everything was closed, we just decided to walk around downtown and look at jewelry. And it was death. After we finally got back, I just hung out, played Exploding Unicorns. Grace and Ileana watched The Emperor's New Groove, and I got sucked into it because that movie is so good. I then read an academic paper and listened to my first iteration of The Divine Office and went to sleep. The Divine Office is like a liturgy thing for Catholics, just so you know. Also, for those of you that don't know, there we go. I've started the Catholic prayer called The Divine Office, where I listen to prayers that are average about 15 minutes at various points throughout my day. There are 6 I'm supposed to listen to each day, and I'll be honest, I rarely get around to doing all 6. But so far, it's actually been pretty good. It helps you take like a step back during all the busyness of the day and remember, who you are and who you live for. So yeah, started doing that. Woke up the next day, spent the entire drive back reconstructing my plans, only for them to be lost again. Oh, I'm sure you all remember my previous accounting of that unfortunate event. I then spent a good portion of the afternoon trying to recover said lost playlist, but to no avail, to then spend another hour or so recording my last live email and sending it off to Joe. Finally, I ran out the night playing Minecraft with the gang and keeping mostly on schedule with my fancy new calendar. Sunday, I worked on my car, which you already heard about. I had a great D&D session in which I got mucho cool wizard powers and licked some questionable roots. I then did dishes, went on a walk with Neo, and we all played Halo together. Monday was Monday. Deductive, I know. School, work, and all that. I was able to keep up my prayers well as talk to Elkin about some stuff going down in his church, which was good. After that, I attended the traditional anime time. We played Brawlhalla and watched that volleyball anime. The following day at school, I felt pretty tired, so I tried to take a nap when I got home. And I did actually succeed, which, trust me, is out of character. I then went to work, and instead of learning philosophy, I thought about how to make the most OP D&D character. And then, once I got off work, spent the majority of the afternoon crafting that character. And then, at Rasher Christie, I would 0% listen to this Muslim dude talk, because he apparently doesn't know that much anyway, so I was all good. And finish making my character. Oh, and then me and Alan fixed some Aristotelian metaphysics, which was definitely a very good thing. The following day I had school, I worked some more on my D&D character, went to work, talked with Alan over Discord, and worked some more things out, went to youth group, and then got home, took a music test, which I did okay on, considering, I've literally learned nothing, and I was 100% winging it, and then I found a way to fix an issue I was having with Spotify, which was hard, and required some extensive-ish research. The next day I had school and an advisor's meeting, which went smoothly. It looks like I will only have the money to take 2 classes next semester, so that's a blessing and a curse. A blessing because it means my last semester will be an easy one, but a curse because that means less free school. Also, both those classes are really hard, so there's that as well. Once I got home, I worked on homework till I had to go in for my calc-based physics lab. And when I got home, I did more homework before rounding out the night by reconstructing my instrumental playlist. For the 3rd time! Though to be fair, at this point, it was a whole lot faster of an endeavor. I then partook in my Catholic prayers and went to bed. The next morning, I took a math test, worked in my car for 6 hours, talked to William, which was good, and also took Grace to dance. And then, to dance. Oh, and then I watched a movie with Ben. Also, I did one other thing, which is I put on my new old necklace, which I had. So the funny thing is I started, to wear I started wearing my New Zealand necklace always so I could remember you guys. But to be honest, the necklace did a whole lot better job when it was lost. So I kept reaching to my neck, feeling like something was missing. It's a weird experience being without a necklace. Just felt super wrong. So see, when I left, I actually was given 2 necklaces, but I chose to, wear the one I've been wearing for all these years because frankly it looked cooler. But now that one is gone, I've started wearing the other one, and I'm once again whole. Again, you have no idea how weird it is not wearing a necklace. Here's a picture of the necklace I'm currently wearing. It just feels like you're naked. It's weird. Saturday, I lived up to that airsoft life, and it was pretty good. Me and Ben managed to get Morgan to tag along, and that was cool too. I don't think she loved it, but I don't think she hated it, so, 53% win. After we played airsoft, Ben sponsored cinnamon rolls for all of us. Frankly, the conversation was unbearably drawn out and meaningless, and mostly included some questionable dances, but we don't go into that. Once I got home, Morgan stuck around, and the 3 of us watched Steins Gate. Yes, we're still working through that. And then I picked up Grace, watched some anime, and caught up with Jordan, which was good. The following Sunday, I went to Southgate for church service. Grace wanted to go with her friend, and she needed a ride. And there was one of those, classic enthusiastic black preachers, who I'm not sure if I liked or not. His sermon was definitely entertaining, but also definitely false, taken at face value. So I suppose we'll give him the benefit of the interpretive doubt. Anyway, I did that, and went there. And then I went to D&D, where we had a decent session. Oh, and you know how that D&D character I labored over? Yeah, he got destroyed. Literally last place. Frankly, I blame the combination of really bad luck, as on both the first terms, I rolled with 3 attacks with advantage, and none of them hit. And also some bad strategy on my part. However, I'm hoping to challenge Neo, and maybe eventually Sydney, to a rematch, because I think I know how to destroy them. Anyway, after that, I did dishes with Brayden until I left. Monday, I had the usual school and work and homework, but then when Animen rolled around, we ended up not watching the designated anime, instead playing Brawlhalla and Minecraft, which I will inform you that Animen has officially become Mindmen, because literally all we do is play Minecraft now. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty stoked about that. Anyway, played Minecraft until 11, at which point I promptly left in accordance with my schedule. After school and work the next day, I did a lot of homework and then stayed way too late at Rational Christie debating Aristotle metaphysics with Alan. However, I will inform you that as of now, Aristotle metaphysics is back online. You have no idea how happy that makes me. So yeah, I did that and suffered sleep deprivation consequences next morning. I barely made it to school on time, watched some anime, did some homework, and then spent my time at work not learning philosophy, but instead thinking about the epic obsidian tower I'm making, which is really cool. Probably my coolest Minecraft creation yet. So I'll have to show you at some point. I then got home, did more homework, watched some more anime, went to youth group, spent some time on the lawn in prayer, and then went to sleep. Thursday, I went to school as usual, but this time I stuck around a bit later as Ben engaged in with Ben to engage in some dodgeball. Our team destroyed. And, you know, I know I'm like 4 years older than these kids, but I shouldn't be like as proud of that as I am, but I'm totally proud of that. I then went straight to my physics lab, did that, got home, did homework, watched some anime before doing some more homework, and then going on a late night Blade. Man, I haven't done that in ages, and I've forgotten how great it is. Oh, I also finished reading through Judith. I've been reading through the Deuterocanonical books of the Bible to see what it's all about. And I know what you're thinking. Alex, you started a Catholic prayer ritual, and you started reading the Apocrypha. Are you becoming Catholic? And the answer is no. I'm still Protestant. I just think Catholics are very smart and I respect them. Though, you know, becoming Catholic isn't out of the question. Friday, I performed miscellaneous upkeep tasks, laundry, vacuuming, etc., before playing soccer with the gang and then working on my car for the rest of the evening. Saturday, I had the close but not quite moment with my car detailed earlier, so I won't recount that, but I will assure you that it was quite the agonizing experience. I then went to school, got the day off work, got my car towed back to my house, did homework, then spent a lot of the time researching and buying tools. And then I partook in Mind Men. I'm sorry, but, you know, in its current state, it doesn't deserve to be called Anime anymore. The event is hereby christened Mind Men. Boop, boop. More school and work ensued upon the morrow, as did more homework, as is the injustice forced upon me by such a discipline. And then later that night at Rational Christie, there was a never-before-seen level of friend integration. The most significant numbers since the 3 distinct friend groups were all in the same place. It was a little disconcerting, to be honest. But yeah, that went well. Alan and I fixed more metaphysical issues of death, and might have taken a moment to say how grateful I am that Alan is in my life. Like, legit, I don't have someone who could hash out hardcore philosophy with me other than him. And I would be a much less content person than I am now. Just saying. You should all become Allens. Wednesday, I did more school, bought more tools, did more work, did more homework, then went to youth group, and upon arriving home, watched a Thomistic breakdown of gender lectures, which was a good chunk of my time. Thursday at school, I once again stayed for sports, but there were like only 6 people that showed up, including me and Benj, and we played soccer, but it was pretty lame. Plus, I did horribly. I don't know if it was just like couldn't stop moving or what, but it was really bad. Anyway, I think it was because I was playing barefoot and like it was muddy outside. Anyway, I'm gonna try and read the sentence. Anyway, I think it was because I remember playing barefoot when it was muddy outside during lunch at ACS, and I would have had like the same drastic drop in performance. Man, now that I mention it, I do miss those days. Playing with Daniel Dax out in the field all those years ago. Those were good old days, I'll tell you. But you know what? Someday these are going to be the good old days. And what's the real point of dwelling on the past? Anyway, I got home, did homework, took my physics test, and then spent the rest of the night with Morgan's friends, which I need to stop for a moment and describe. Morgan's friends are, how do I put this? Like science hippies. And what do I mean by people who have... and what I mean by that is people who have the mannerisms of hippies and who you think are going to be stupid, but instead, you know, while they smoke the joint they talk about, instead of talking about the last joint they smoked, they talk about like quantum mechanics and how it's really making some interesting discoveries and how Jesus is awesome. Like, seriously, an authentic quote from one of the science hippies was, you know, Jesus is the ultimate frat boy. And he went on to explain how he met all the requirements, hanging out with his boys all the time, dodging the law. I know it sounds like an oxymoron to say such people as science hippies exist, but I assure you, they do. And I was trapped/graced by their presence for a full 5 hours. I kid you not, these people were by far the weirdest people I've met. And I'm convinced that I'm not only delusional, and I'm convinced they're not delusional, yet surprisingly, their weirdness is also immensely attractive. It's like you've only seen people clothed in plaid your whole life, and then you meet a person with a leopard shirt. Of course, you think it's weird and kind of ugly, but at the same time, you're like intrigued and caught off guard. So you don't want to leave, and you feel you can't just like go back to your plaid world without first finding out where this leopard-clad man wishes to take you. Of course, this analogy is horribly inept, but it's the best I can put it. The experience was one of the weirdest and one of the most enjoyable I've had in a long time, and I'm definitely going back. Once I got home from that roller coaster overnight, I watched some anime and hit the sack. The following Friday, I went to work, did homework, and then played Minecraft till 3:30 in the morning because I didn't have school the next day, and it was good. Saturday, I sold my compound bow that I've had forever and turned a 350% profit from what my parents bought it for, so I feel pretty good about that. But it was paid entirely in cash, so now I'm stuck with a wad of 20s that I can't put in my bank because Discover is entirely online. So that's a tad unfortunate. I then started work on my car, and my jack was like, yeah, no, And so I stopped. I then did homework for quite a while and watched some anime. Sunday, I read the Duro Chronicle books for about 4 hours before Hangover Neos, where we did a short D&D session, did dishes, played Halo, and then had a lengthy gender talk, a subject I am really wearing out on, as gender issues seems to be all everyone wants to talk about. The next morning I did work, did some math, did some anime, went to Ratchet Christie where a decently educated Mormon guy talked, and then had, a discussion about gender. See, it keeps coming back to gender. But the importance of this gender talk is it actually was more philosophical in nature, and though I gave it my best shot, I couldn't beat the arguments for a strict teleological understanding of sexual ethics, which means that transgenderism, masturbation, homosexuality, and contraceptives are all definitely evil. If you want me to break down the reasoning for any of those, then let me know, and I'd be happy to do it. After that, we engaged in a game of this, Spirits of the Force game, which I won. Dust off his shoulder. Wednesday, I worked on calculus-based physics for 4 hours straight and got through 3 problems. If you ever find out how I strangled someone, it's because they said, man, calculus-based physics is so easy. And I determined it was unjust for such a gifted human to exist. I then went to youth group, played some Spikeball before heading over to Caleb's house, in which a bunch of us got together and played Minecraft for a while. Even Josh, whose name is not John. I always have to add the ending in there because seriously, I have no idea how many times I've called him John. It's hard for me. Came, and he ended up making a food for all of us instead of playing, which is actually really good. So yeah, I stayed up with the gang till 5 in the morning doing that, and Ben and Co. made an arena where we all fought in Minecraft for the Nether Star that Ben stole, and that was fun. Sorry, forgot to mention that earlier. Thursday, I woke up at 1:30 p.m., and if you're wondering how I could afford to wake up so late, it's because classes were canceled for in-person testing this week, so that's been awesome. I then went to my physics lab, which was painful, but we survived. I then did homework for the entire rest of the day, 5 hours, and then watched some anime before heading to bed. Yesterday, I woke up and did my music homework along with the rest of the Duro Chronicle book of Sirach, which I read, which basically was like Isaiah 2.0, both in length and content. And then I ran out of the night, finally finishing Steins Gate with Morgan and Ben. I think they liked it decently. As for today, I spent most of this morning writing this email, but I took an hour or so a break to help Dad haul the tree that fell in our front yard from the snow a while back. And then I worked on my car for 3 hours, and holy cow, it was like I was a different human. Seriously, now that I've got all my tools and I can work in my own space, albeit that space is just gravel, and I know how everything works, you could have sworn that I was an experienced mechanic of 20 years. I worked so efficiently in those 3 hours because, I've done it all before. And for once, nothing unexpected happened. So, in the mere span of 3 hours, I was able to do what literally took me 30 plus hours before. I'm telling you, I've actually learned a ton. Not only can I eyeball a bolt and get the size right every time, I've taken out so stupid many, but I know exactly what tool to use and how to use it and how everything comes apart. At least, for this particular repair. So yeah, I was super pro, and it felt really good after all that soul-crushing failure. However, it seems as my old rack and pinion may be a different model, so I can't just exchange the head of the two and because they don't match up. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I don't want to drop another $250 on a new rack and pinion, especially when the replacement I just bought works great. But if I can't find anywhere that just sells the head as a standalone piece, then I'm a bit screwed. Oh well, I'll figure it out. At this point, I've dealt with so many setbacks, nothing phases me anymore. So yeah, after doing that, I came up to the point where I'm at, and after talking with Esther and Michael for a bit, I finished up this life demo, and I hope you guys are doing well. Keep practicing not dying. I expect you to have mastered the skill by the time I return to the land of New Zealand, or I'll be severely disappointed. Talk to you all later.